my friends, and welcome back to Player Display. So, I just clocked out of work, so I apologize if I'm a little bit on the fuzzy side, but no one waits for toys, so we're going to talk about toys today. We just got some new leaked images of the Todd McFarlane Batman Forever build Nightmare Bat wave, I believe, whatever you want to call it, but this is a really exciting wave, and not just because, of course, it's Batman Forever, but also because it's not very common where we get like full product shots of figures before they go on pre-order. Actually, today is Wednesday, and these figures are going up on Friday. I believe the typical McFarlane release goes up for pre-order at like 11 a.m. sharp. So if you want to get these guys, have your tabs open. Be ready. I'm thoroughly excited about these ones, and also it's my birthday tomorrow, so it's gonna be a little birthday gift for me, so that'll be exciting. But anyhow, I just wanted to go through the shots of these figures and talk a little bit about them, because there are some things that they're improving on in terms of creating a wave of figures. So I wanted to go over those little nuances, but overall, it's all really good stuff. So anyways, the first thing that we have here, as long as my screen is recording properly, is a theatrical image of all four, well, technically 5 figures together if you count the Nightmare Bat in the background. This is a shot that was already teased on the McFarlane Instagram site, and they all look fantastic. Of course, the least surprising one is Val Kilmer. We already saw him in the Batman 100-year anniversary of Warner Brothers 6-pack, which we have reviewed before, of course. So he is being re-released, though there are going to be some differences. We will talk about that in a few moments here. But the other 4 are totally new. I don't think there's any reused parts. It's all new body sculpts, head sculpts, accessories, once you believe it, and it's just looking great. So I just want to go ahead and talk about those. So let's move on to the first of these 5 figures, being, of course, the Val Kilmer Batman, who, again, we saw in the 6-pack, but there are differences. So before we talk about the accessories that he comes with, I just wanted to talk about the base figure here. I first saw these images pipelined through a Facebook group that I'm part of that talks about Batman figures from 89 to 97, obviously speaking to the quadrilogy of Batman movies from before Dark Knight. But still, we want to talk about these new figures because they do represent the toys and films from that time. The Val Kilmer one, it rose a lot of eyebrows because of the color palette that was used. So if you look here at the main body, I'm not sure if you can see my mouse at all, but it looks like the main body is done in the same gunmetal blue, or whatever it is that you'd like to call it, which is good. It's a color that I prefer. It's almost borderlines on gunmetal gray, depending on what light it's in, so I think that's really fun. But another thing to notice that's, I think, more screen accurate is you do have black gloves and boots. So this would allow options for potential part swaps. So what I'll almost definitely do if it is more screen accurate, I haven't looked up references yet, but I'm pretty sure it is more screen accurate. But what I'll do is I will actually pop the arms and legs off and swap them with the 6-pack Batman, excuse me. And the reason why I'm doing that is because that Batman already has a custom cape on him, so I'm going to keep that cape, and then I'm going to slot on these new arms and new legs. Now, the reason why this figure isn't perfect is, for some odd reason, McFarlane decided to black out the cowl, and no one's too sure why he did that, because that's definitely not accurate at all. It should be the same color as the rest of the main suit, with the exception of course, being the cape, the gloves, and the boots. So I'm not too sure why he went with black for the cowl. So that's why I'm going to take the gloves and boots on this figure and drop them onto my already cape-customized 6-pack Kilmer. So, people are pretty disappointed in that. Firstly, because if you weren't able to get the 6-pack, you're going to get an ultimately inaccurate sonar suit for Val Kilmer, which does kind of suck. And if you miss a 6-pack, then you're not going to get the one that's all in blue. So that is a little bit stinky. However, we did get 2 releases of George Clooney, and of course I have both releases, one from the 6-pack and one from the Batman and Robin wave. There have been talks of how you could potentially pop off this head sculpt and then pop it onto one of your spare Cloonies to create a traditional Panther suit version of Kilmer. That would require some repainting. I mean, the most striking detail of the first Kilmer suit is that you had the yellow logo in the center, so you'd have to get some of your paints ready. I'm probably gonna like spray paint it over entirely in yellow and then repaint in the bat on top of that, so I'm gonna need to figure that out. But that is a mod I am considering, especially since I'll have 2 Kilmers and 2 Cloonies. May as well make an extra Panther suit. I'm not sure if it's going to be totally accurate sculpt-wise, but if we're not going to get a standard Panther suit Kilmer, then that's the closest we can get. If we can take a Clooney body, then pop this particular head sculpt from the Batman Forever Build-A-Wave, and pop that onto the Clooney. So that's an option there. The next thing that's worth talking about are the accessories, which look absolutely amazing and have me very excited. We have a Batarang, the Sonar Batarang, what looks like a grappling hook, 2 alternate fists because he has gripping hands, and then we also have the first Build-A-Figure part being the Nightmare Bat. We'll talk about the Bat a little bit towards the end of this, I think, but for now, yes, there is the Build-A-Figure part for the Bat head, which is really exciting. This is all great stuff. I'm really loving what we're seeing here. The accessories are done up in silver, they look beautiful, and I think the most exciting thing here is the alternate hands. And that might not sound like much, but the really great thing is that the Batman Forever suit has the same hands as the Batman and Robin suit. So you could potentially pop the hands off of the Clooney and swap them with the Kilmer hands that we have here, so we could have Clooney gripping Batarangs as well. So this figure is good on its own, I mean, aside from having the black cowl, but it can also act as a supplement for the Kilmer and Clooney that we already saw in the 6-pack, which is extremely exciting. So, and another thing, the last thing worth mentioning is that he does not come with a solid cape like the re-released Clooney. He instead just has a cloth one, which may or may not be wired. I can't quite tell for sure from this image here, but I'm hoping it's wired. I mean, it's not my preferred material. We can see that it is the more porous cloth that we have seen on a few occasions, so I don't prefer that. So if I'm going to make that Panther suit Kilmer, then I'm probably going to wind up getting a third-party cape with the wiring, and then that'll make things a little bit more shiny and accurate, so I'll do that. But we're getting a soft cape, which I definitely prefer over the big slab of plastic that we saw with the second Clooney. So that's better to see, but overall, I'm still very excited for this figure, for the accessories he comes with, the new gloves and boots, and the potential customizing opportunities that we have with the head sculpt, which again is going to be a love it or hate it thing, depending on whether or not you already have the original Clooney or not. Kilmer, excuse me, and the Clooney as well, so you can create that Panther suit. But, yeah, overall, I think this is great. I think I'm most excited to get him because he comes with so much shit. So, really looking forward to this Kilmer. Next up, we have Chris O'Donnell, again, this time in his Batman Forever suit, as Robin. He only wears it in the 3rd act, but it's still a very cool suit. The colors, I feel like they're a little bit too bright, but I feel like they got the gloss done properly, so it is shiny and everything. It's got that very contrasted red and green look, which I really love. And then we also have what is almost definitely going to be a bendy wire cape. I really love the fact that McFarlane is doing bendy wire capes. He's not doing the solid ones as much anymore. He kind of teeters back and forth between the two. But the fact that we have wired capes in the mix, in the conversation at all, is great. I really love that he's doing that. In this case, it looks like it's going to be 2 separate layers. It's going to have a lining to it. So we'll have black on the outside, then we'll have yellow on the inside, which is screen accurate, so that's going to be very nice. I feel like the cape should be more leathery, but still, I think this cape is fine. I don't think I'll plan on substituting it. I think it looks great. The one thing I don't love as much is the facial expression. I mean, on the Batman and Robin one, he had a little bit of a smirk, which gave him a ton of character. Here he looks a little bit stone-faced and bored, which isn't really befitting to this character. So, I don't know, something of a a scream, a smirk, a scowl, just something to give him a little bit more characterization would have been nice. But overall, really beautiful figure. A lot of people say this is the one they're most excited for, and I totally get that. He looks absolutely incredible. As for accessories, yes, there are more accessories. We do have more hands, which may actually, now I'm looking at it, may be compatible with the Batman and Robin we've seen previously. I think these are the same gloves. If not, they'll be close enough that you could get away with it. So it's hard to see over here, but it looks like we have a pointing hand, an open hand, and then 2 gripping hands, I think, if I'm seeing that right. It's a little hard to see. It's so small in the back there. But we have those, and then we have 1 giant wing for the Nightmare Bat. Yes, he is called the Nightmare Bat. That packaging confirms that. So that's really great. And another really good-looking figure for this wave. But of course, you can't talk about Batman Forever without talking about the Rogues Gallery. So I'm going to need to zoom in a little bit. Hold on. There we go. For this Two-Face. I don't know why this image is low res and smaller, but regardless, here's our image of Two-Face that we have to work with. A little blurry, I apologize for that. It's the best that I have at the moment. It looks kind of like Tommy Lee Jones. I feel like once we get it in hand, we'll be able to gauge it a little bit better, but I feel like the likeness isn't quite dead on. It's close enough. It's tolerable. But that being said, from neck down, I love it. I love that he's got the split down the middle suit. He's got the tuxedo on one side, then he's got the tiger print on the other, or leopard print. More leopard, I guess. No, leopards are spots. I don't know my animals. I'm not here to talk about animals. I'm here to talk about toys. But he doesn't have a whole ton of accessories. Obviously, he has no firearms because Warner Brothers is Warner Brothers, but if you have any of the McFarlane accessory packs, weapon packs, or whatever, then you should have an ample amount of pistols and stuff for him to work with, so I'm definitely going to give him at least 1 handgun of some sort. So, and fortunately, you can accomplish that with the gripping hands that he has, so that's good to see. And meanwhile, you have another hand, which I'm a little bit half and half about. That's no pun intended. But here we have him, by default, having a coin flipping hand, which is great in principle. But, I don't know, I don't love the look of it. It almost looks like he's shooting water out of his hand to suspend the coin in the air, so that feels a little odd to me. I know it's meant to simulate air, it's meant to be transparent, but it looks a little weird. I'd prefer, like, if they really wanted to pin this guy out, they could give him open palmed hands, a whole bunch of them, where he has, like, an open hand, and I don't know why I'm gesturing this, you can't see me gesturing anything, but he could have an open hand with he could have one hand with the palm up, and then the non-scratched out face of the coin facing up. Then you can have another hand with a scratched out face, so you can have either or, and then that could add to a lot of different posing opportunities. Here it's just a coin flip, and I feel like that really does limit what he can do. If you had one side of the coin, then the other side of the coin on the different hands, I think that would have given him a lot more. So he's probably, to me, the least impressive of all the 5 figures that we're looking at today, but it's not bad. I think it's still a great figure, and he comes with the second wing of this Nightmare Bat as well. Lastly, of course, we have Jim Carrey's Riddler, who looks absolutely fantastic. I do think there is one issue here where the question marks don't go all the way around the body. You can see here from the side angle that the printing is missing. That's just simply because of how the figures are manufactured. I guess they wouldn't be printed on the side. And again, if I checked my one thing we should do when we review this wave, assuming I'm able to get these figures, I'm pretty sure I'll be able to, but when we get this wave, I'll compare this Riddler to the DC Classics one and see if the Classics variant had the question marks printed on the side, because I'm not seeing it here. I'm curious if they were able to accomplish that with the Classics version. But anyways, that being said, does it look like Jim Carrey? It looks like a caricature of Jim Carrey. It doesn't feel 100% there, but it works. It does its job pretty alright. But that being said, as for accessories, he comes with some alternate hands. Looks like they're more gesturing. It's hard to see. They get a little caught up in the light in this particular shot, so it's a little hard to see. And then up here we have this little green baggie. I believe this is one of the bombs that he was throwing around the Batcave, destroying all the suits and vehicles, which is why Kilmer needed the sonar suit at the end. It was the only suit that survived. So that's a neat little prop. If you want him dancing around with something that's not his cane, which I forgot to mention, then you have that. As for the cane itself, it is definitely the 1995 Riddler cane. It looks fantastic. It's got the question mark at the top. It's got that cylindrical design going down the shaft. It looks fantastic. And most awkward thing about this figure is he comes with the big old bat body that goes with the Nightmare Bat, so that feels really strange. But I mean, you need all the parts to build your Nightmare Bat, which, again, we're going to talk about in a few moments. But last thing here is it looks like we also have a proper glimpse at one of the trading cards, and they're going to do something similar to what they did with Batman and Robin. They're not going to be shots of the figure, which I never prefer, so that's good. They're not going to be artistic renderings. They're going to be shots directly taken from the theatrical posters of the film, which is fitting. So I got no issues with that. They'll look really good in my card book, so no worries there. So last one to talk about, let's zoom back to the theatrical image of these figures, where in the upper right we have an image of the Nightmare Bat. Unfortunately, we don't have a really good image of the Nightmare Bat yet. I'm sure we will once these images are officially released on the McFarlane site and on BBTS and on Amazon for like 2 seconds. But yeah, the Build-A-Figure is a Nightmare Bat, and this is an interesting choice. A lot of people have preferred that, oh, they should have done a Chase Meridian, Commissioner Gordon, and Alfred Pennyworth would have also been very good, but they decided to go with the bigger and more unusual choice being the Nightmare Bat. For me personally, I actually really love it. I think it's really exciting. I really love this bat. He does appear very briefly in the film, where Batman is kind of recalling his past, how he became the Bat, what the Bat is supposed to mean. That plays a lot more into the Schumacher cut of this film, which a lot of people are still campaigning to one day see the light of day. So in that theatrical cut, the Bat would have been a lot more prominent, but that being said, he does appear in a lot of the promotional material for the movie when it was being released, and it was very briefly seen in the film as well, but it is really awesome if you can find more shots of it. It's this really big puppet, and it looks fantastic. Unfortunately, going back to the Batman figure, and we see the head sculpt for this Nightmare Bat, it's not totally accurate to the puppet, which I don't love. I wish they would have kept it a little closer, but that being said, it still looks really great. And if you don't prefer it as a Nightmare Bat, it's not a bad shoe-in for Man Bat if you really wanted it to be. I already have the Rebirth one, so I won't be using it for that, but I still dig it. I think it's still very cool. I mean, again, it's a Nightmare Bat. It can be for whenever any of your Batman is having a hallucination or something like that. He's a guy with many demons, so if he goes into his own head, that's probably what he's seeing. So it doesn't have to be Batman Forever exclusive. It doesn't have to be just for that movie and for this collection. It can be for any of the Batman that you want that you have on your shelf. It could work with Nightfall. It could certainly work with Burton's Batman, or if you wanted to, anyone in the six-pack, really. So, yeah, are there better choices for a Build-A-Figure for this particular wave? Oh, yeah, definitely. But I'm so glad we're getting it. It's going to eat up a lot of space on the shelf. I actually have no idea how it's going to be able to stand up. You're probably going to need a figure stand. Like, looking at the Jim Carrey here, I'm not seeing, like, a stand that would support him or anything like that. So you'd probably need a standard flight stand that came with a Superman or something like that. But I'm hoping it can be done and that it's not too top-heavy, but time will tell. But all that being said, I'm still really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a very cool background character for your cinematic Batman shelf. So that's pretty much all I have to say. This is a really great looking wave. I'm really excited about it. Again, I'm most excited about the Batman, not because it's a perfectly executed figure, but just based on all the accessories and props that he comes with, and the modularity that he brings to the table. That part's really exciting. But if you're getting him just to be Kilmer, I do think the Black Cowl is a place of critique. I don't think it should be that way. I don't know why McFarlane decided to do that, but regardless, he comes with the Batarangs. He comes with interchangeable hands. And these hands, included with the hands that come with the Robin, I believe they will be interchangeable with the Clooney and O'Donnell figures that we got with Batman and Robin wave. You might need some heat because they're not primed to have those hands removed, but basically, it's worth going into what I did with the Burton Batman, so I could do interchangeable hands there. Those hands would not pop off on their own, so I did need to give them heat. After I did that, I shaved down the mushroom peg a little bit, and that would allow any other hand to slot on and off universally. So that's something you might need to do with your figures in order for the hands to be interchangeable, but the fact that we have so many options now is just great. I'd love to see the Batman and Robin with the pointing finger. I think that would look really great because he was seen that way in some of the promotional material. So I'm really looking forward to just getting these extra pieces, not just for these figures, but to complement figures that we already have. But anyways, that's enough of that. I'm thrilled with this wave. This is looking great. Few little nitpicks, I mean, there always are, but overall, solid. I'm really looking forward to this wave. Again, if you want to get it, they should be posting in 2 days. That's going to be on June 7th, Friday of this year, 2024. And if you want to get it, I recommend opening up. This is what I do for all pre-orders. This is how I got my hands on the Classics Darkseid. You want to open up a tab on McFarlane. You want to open a tab on BBTS. You want to open up a tab on Amazon. Just open tabs on everything. And then come around 10, 11 o'clock, refresh them, wait for the windows to show up, and then hopefully you're able to get all 4. I'm pretty confident I'll be able to do that. I managed to do it with the Batman and Robin wave already. When it comes to, like, wave figures, like a Build-A-Figure wave, they're a little bit more on the common side. Like, these guys aren't going to be exclusive. They're going to be at select retailers. They're not going to be, like, McFarlane exclusive. They're not going to be Gold Label, Platinum Label, or any of that crap. So you're not going to have to worry about that. So if you don't get these figures as soon as they come out, don't be dispirited. I feel like they will appear again. And yeah, they're great figures. I hope that everyone who wants them is able to get them. They look fantastic. So that's it for me. I'm really looking forward to these. Let me know what you're thinking in the comments below. That is all I have to say. These are looking great. So hope you enjoy these when you get them. Let me know what you think. We will definitely do a review. And that's about all. So I hope you're enjoying your week. Rock on. And I will see you all later.